y'all doing? There's a lot going on today, right? Let's burn some sage. Let's get some good energy here. You hear this, children? What up, girl? Let me get you up in here. Hey.
Hey.
Hold on, put the volume up.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up, girl?
Hey, I'm
I
excited
look
for
mad
today.
hot, crazy.
What are you telling? My hair's all over the place. I actually have to wash it.
Yo, my hair has gotten so oily the older I get. It's horrible.
Really?
I gotta figure out the root to that.
Mine just gets more frizzy, which is kind of annoying. Like, it just gets frizzy. I think it just
I
needs
have
the...
parts of that. And then I have like this area in the back here that's just so oily. I hate it.
That doesn't happen. But definitely, like,
Yeah.
it gets tangled a
Oh, my
lot.
quickly.
That never happened before. And I think a lot of moms can say you just after you have your babies, you're just things change. And it's like weird. Things that like you didn't
Changes.
go to sleep and with my hair wake up and be able to leave the house. Like I could just run my fingers through my hair, even no matter how long it was always, and it would just detangle and be just so simple. And now it's like I really gotta have a brush. Like I'm like I've never even like owned my own brush. I'm like, this is adult.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's get to it. Look at me. I'm looking crazy, girl. All right. So we're going to talk about today a really, really important subject, which has to do with technology and children. Now, before we begin, I was thinking to read to them the post that I posted yesterday about the subconscious mind.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. That they want to bring that.
Because this is where everything generates from your subconscious mind. We may think that we are in control and that you're fully aware of all the thoughts that you have and that they're from like an organic source, but they're not. They're from a programmed source. Like you are being conditioned every single day, good or bad. It's
It works
both, really. Yeah. Oh damn, I hope this don't die on me. Okay, let me move over here. Hold on, because my laptop, I'm gonna put it up on my laptop. I don't want my laptop to die. I got my charger here. So what it is that controls majority of how you react to things, how you respond to things, how you feel about things, your emotional standpoint, how you view things. Everything is going to come from a subconscious mind, of what from everything, from what you watch on TV, who you hang out with, who you speak to on a daily basis, everything, the friends that your children have, all of that plays a part, and it lies in their subconscious. Now let's talk about the subconscious real quick. Let me find this post real quick because I want to read it to y'all, because this breaks it down like perfectly.
Yeah, we're told that most of our functionings come from our conscious mind, but it's actually the opposite.
Exactly. So it says how your subconscious mind creates reality. Creates reality.
Hint.
Hold that one. All right. The first one. From birth to age 7, the subconscious mind is formed with core beliefs about who we are, who other people are, and the world around us. Peace, Queen. You heard that? I'm gonna read that again. From birth to 7 years old, the subconscious mind is formed with core beliefs about who we are, who other people are, and the world around us. So whatever you were around up to your age 7, that is the foundation of your life at that point. Okay, the source starts pretty much from there. Thank you, Mama. Now, the subconscious mind controls the functions of our body: heart rate, temperature, how we breathe. We'll get that to another thing, because I'm gonna tell you right now, half of y'all ain't even breathing. You not even, you like, put like this. If when you take a deep breath, before I continue, when you take a deep breath, your stomach is supposed to expand. Most of you people take a deep breath right now, and most of y'all probably gonna just go, and your stomach is gonna contract in. We hold trauma and all that stuff in our gut, This is why food is so important. You don't understand. There's a science to all this, and everything is connected. So you're holding this in your gut, all this, okay? Why do you think also your body, when something happens, when you get nervous, where do you feel it? In your gut, right? Your butterflies, if you're nervous, if you're excited, you feel it in your gut, okay? So most of the time, we're not even consciously breathing. So how much oxygen are we really giving to our brain to be able to filter and process thoughts accordingly? We're not. We're shallow breathers. So if the subconscious mind controls the function of the body, which includes the heart rate, the temperature, and how we breathe, plus our mental functions, which is how we think, our impulses, and our habits. Okay? If all of these come together and we understand actually that when we eat certain things, certain foods that are not meant for our bodies, right? It causes a chemical reaction that causes an imbalance. And then what's going to happen now? Your brain is not getting the proper nutrients, the proper breath, the proper oxygen, the proper things, so it can work the way it's supposed to work, like in an optimal level. You know, we're not doing that. We're stopping that. Then we're wondering why we live in a world where depression and suicide and all these things are so high. It's because most of people don't even know they're operating from their subconscious mind, not even their conscious mind. So I'm gonna continue. We're gonna get deep today. The subconscious mind works to confirm our core beliefs in our environment. Everybody's environment is different. I know when I moved from living my whole life in New York, I grew up in Brooklyn, I lived in Queens, and then I moved to California, and I shifted my environment, and that shifted so many things. Now it continues. What we think plus believe to be true is filtered through a bundle of nerves called the reticular activating system, RAS. So look, girl, give me. Thank you so much. These are my snacks.
Mine too.
Thank you so much.
Trophy.
You'd be like, here's your juice. Thank you. So this is the thing. Listen to these keywords. Oh, she made me want to. Thank you. Y'all so sweet. Okay. Mwah. I love y'all. Goodbye. So think about this. It says the subconscious mind works to confirm our core beliefs in our environment. So if we're being programmed by the subconscious mind, you're creating your own core beliefs. Okay? You're creating your own core beliefs based on the environment you are in. Now, small example, right? I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn. It was a very aggressive neighborhood. I went to a very aggressive high school. It was always like, defend yourself, be hit or hit. Like, it's like that. That's how I was. So you was always aggressive. Like, you ready to fight anybody. Like, who wanted? Somebody looking at you, you're going to be quick to be like, what's up? What you looking at? Like, that's how it was. So what were my beliefs then? Girl, stop. My beliefs was that I had to always protect myself and defend myself. Right? And I had to prove that I was strong, that you couldn't take advantage of me, that you couldn't touch me, that you couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, that I was tough. I had to prove that, because based on the environment that I came in. Now, what happens when
for you than for other people?
Right.
It's more for self. Yeah.
It's more for self. So now what happens? I moved to California. And embarrassingly enough, after my first week, I punched a bitch in the face at a club because it was this bottle service girl. Because here I am, fresh out, you know, I meet this girl on
Fresh
set of the set that I worked on.
out of
She
Brooklyn.
invited me out, and I was like, oh, that would be nice. Let me go out and meet some people. Well, I'm standing there actually with my drink, and this bottle service girl comes with her stuff, and she like pushes me, and I'm like, so I tap her. I'm like, you can say excuse me next time. This bitch really goes, well, you still gotta move, and puts her hands on me.
Oh no.
Now, coming from where I come from,
I
bitch,
see what
you just started. You not now. Now we gonna fight because now, Jessica, I talked to you. I was nice. I said you could say excuse me. She pushed me. So what did I do? I didn't say anything. I grabbed her by the hand. I punched her in her face, and I kept punching her. I kept punching her. I kept punching her. She's like, ah! And the girl that I'm with, new friend, I'm still friends with, actually, thank God. She's like, oh my God, and I'm just punching her. Finally, the bouncers come, they grab me, they push me out, they kick me out the club. I call my husband. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, yo, this bitch touched me, blah, blah, blah. So I fucking punched her. They kicked me out the club. He's like, yo, take your ass home. Get your ass home. I'm like, I'm coming. But I came for a drink, and I'm going to have my fucking drink. So the girl, poor Andrea, again, I'm coming from an aggressive environment. She's trying to help me. Literally, this girl's trying to help me. And I forgot I had her keys in my purse. And she's calling me when I get kicked out of the club, and I'm pissed off walking on the street. And she's like, Jen. And I'm like, what the fuck you want? She's like, my keys, you have my keys. I'm like, oh yeah. I take the keys. I'm wrong for this, okay? I'm not even gonna lie. I take the keys. I'm like, take your fucking keys. And I throw the keys at her. Horrible, okay? I'm grateful that this girl's still my friend, okay?
Because we don't see the actions in the moment. It's not when we're
I don't like, you know, and then I'm talking to my friend from New York. It's late too, and she's up. And I'm talking to her, and I'm telling her, I'm like, yo, this bitch came and touched me, yada, yada, yada. And then the girl that I'm with, she's trying to help me. Like, she's still like, are you okay? I'm just worried. Are you okay? I'm like, yo, get away from me. Get away from me. So then I'm talking to my girl, and she's like, yo, put her on the phone. And she's like, yo, let her just chill. Like, she's in a foreign place. She doesn't know anybody. She's new to that city. This is not familiar to her. Like, people just putting their hands, you know what I mean? Like, let her calm down. But, you know what I mean? Like, just give her a minute, please. So she's like, okay, I just want her to know, like, I'm here for her. You know what I mean? So finally I went home. Yeah, like, she was still there, Bendito. And she was like, all I saw, because I still had my purse. That was the thing. I had the purse right here. And I was still like, bah, bah, bah. And I was like, don't touch me. I could walk out. Mad ghetto. Mad fucking ghetto, yo. So anyways, I say all that to say is that I was reacting from a program mindset. I wasn't able, you know, at one point, the girl, Andrea, and I started laughing at her. She was like, you should have told me. I would have just called the owner. I'm like, bitch, we don't do that. Anybody call no owner? Like, bitch, you put your hands on me, you get got. Like, I'm putting my hands on you, and the show is over. It's done. Like, nobody needs to call nobody. But either way, I'm not saying I shouldn't have defended myself. She did put hands on me. Fine. But the point I'm trying to make here is that I also took out my frustration on somebody who had nothing to do with nothing, who was trying to be there for me. And I didn't even allow myself, she did deserve that. I didn't even allow myself to even allow this person to be there for me in a moment where I did need somebody, because I'm here like, just like, oh, I don't know y'all bitches, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, your environment says a lot about how you handle things. It says a lot about how you handle things. Now, it says here, what we think plus believe to be true. Believe to be true. Everybody's reality is different. Everybody has a different perspective. There's no right or wrong. There's just their reality. That's all it is. So now, if it's believed to be true, it's filtered through a bundle of nerves in your body. Okay, like real nerves. What do you think? Your connections. Hairs. When something happens, what do you get? You get like those goosebumps, right? It goes through your hairs. Those are nerves. All those are connected to your body. Okay? When you put a certain lotion on, it seeps through your skin, okay, into your bloodstream, because that's the largest organ. Your skin is the largest organ in your body. Let's continue real quick. The RAS validates our pre-held beliefs or reality. This is why when you start to think about a car you might want to buy, you start seeing that car everywhere. Or if you bought a new car, you'll see that car everywhere now, everywhere you drive. The car is always there. It's just that now being filtered through your awareness. See, so
Which
when
is
we're able
crazy.
to see things, yes. Now
That's
this
already
is crazy. 95% of our day is spent within our subconscious mind. 95%. Now bust this. 95% of the time, what are our children doing? iPad, TV, school influence. Okay? You're going to have to dissect all these programmings and what they're doing, because if 95% of your day is spent within your subconscious mind, that is where everything is starting to transform into who they're going to become as an adult, how they're going to handle things.
And that's what builds their foundation, not you anymore.
Not you anymore. No. Now, this is
children because you're with them all day. I'm sorry. You think you're influencing your children because you're with them all day, but in reality, if they're not looking at you, and I mean like only you, then they're not really learning anything from you. They're learning whatever it is that they're watching on the side, whatever it is that they're listening to on the side, and all that. I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention that also.
Yes. So it says, this is why we can do our tasks like washing dishes, driving to work, or making morning coffee without actually being conscious. Because this is the thing. When you do those things, tell me that you're sitting there washing dishes, simply present, saying, I'm just washing dishes. No, you're not. Hey, mama. No, you're not. You're sitting there washing dishes going, I was supposed to send that email earlier. I didn't send it. What the fuck am I going to cook later? Do we have any mayonnaise? I don't know if we have any mayonnaise. This is what you're doing. So you're not present. You're still but you're still doing these things, quote unquote, consciously, but you're not conscious. You're not conscious when you're doing these things because you're not present. To be conscious is to be present. We're not present. So much of what we call our reality is actually our subconscious mind confirming pre-held beliefs. Understanding our subconscious mind lets us train our mind to expand or see new perspectives plus truths based on what we think, consume, and choose to believe. With practice of our reticular activating system, RAS, starts to pick up new things in our environment, allow us to experience a new reality we have consciously built. What happened when I was here for the first 6 months and I went back to New York? I had reprogrammed my reality because I no longer felt like I had to fight every time. I no longer felt aggressive. I felt at peace. Everybody was saying good morning to me. And I'm like, oh my God, people say good morning. Get the fuck out of here. Like, it will be like that, to the point where I go back to New York. And I remember when I get out to the airport and I'm walking to get out and I'm like, good morning. And people are like, and I was like, ooh, what is wrong with people here? Why are they so angry? I was one of those people. But I came back with this kumbaya, peace, good morning, how are you? And everybody's like, bitch, move. But that's the reality of that environment, So everything shifts. And when we think about also growing up, right? Our televisions were whitewashed completely.
Yeah.
You thought white was right.
Curly hair. So
you didn't want to have, you thought all this.
From all these things. And another crazy thing that even like the way we learn is by coming more than any other way is by coming across things that we know we are not or we know we do not want. And sometimes because we learn those things through our subconscious behavior, those things drag on to be a part of us, but they're not. Like it's also because of the things that were pre-programmed into you even while you were in your mom's stomach, like all the trauma that your mother went through, those emotions all transferred onto you. So that's why the part that you mentioned about the 0 to 7, like that age is so important, because what I'm not realizing is that the programming that these children have, their minds are moldable. That's why, like, I can't have a conversation with every parent about all these things that they want to please their children so much. But I'm like, my daughter thinks she's Elsa from Frozen. Like, am I really going to let her think she's Elsa from Frozen? No, because what is that going to cause her when she's older? I have to really acknowledge that, okay, she likes that. She wants those things. But at the same time, it's not real. So learning to, like, think in your grown-up mind and try to separate what is not you from yourself so that you can better parent your children, like, that's hard work. So, like, also, we're not, it's easy, but it's also deprogramming. Like, you're behind. It's not even that you're like, you haven't started. No, you're like behind because this has already been done to us, and it was already done to our parents. So the undoing and unveiling of this is gonna be so much work, and so it's gonna feel overwhelming. But in reality, the comeback from it, it's you can see it in your children. You can see it, and you can see that they make different decisions based. So the 7-year-old phase, right? What happens after the child turns 7? That's their responsibility now. You no longer have the power to go in there and mold that mind. The power of having an under 7-year-old is so important to know these things. It's not saying that, like, you know, once they're after 7, you can't do it. No, but you can teach them. But now it's still responsibility, and it's harder, and it's more. If you got to change something in the foundation of your house, it's a lot of work.
It's work. It's work. I know how easy it is to give your kids a tablet, give your kids a TV, and have them just rock out there. Because let me tell you something. I love my children, but children are fucking annoying at times. Like, sometimes you don't want to be bothered, bro. You want to finish something. You're trying to finish work. You're trying to do something, and they're constantly interrupting you, getting off your flow. And you're just like, yo, give me a second. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, it's like to break these generational curses. Yeah, you are the generational curse breaker. Yes, to break these generational curses, we have to realize that we've been spoiled in allowing, and not even spoiled because it really hurt us in the end, but we've been used to somebody taking on the responsibility that actually was always ours. It was always ours. Your child's health is your responsibility, not a doctor's. That they're just there in case of an emergency. You're supposed to stick with the preventative lifestyle so that they don't have to unless they need to. Education. We left these mofos to educate us, and what did we turn out to be? We're sitting here, I know I am, at fucking 40 years old, almost 40, trying to undo all the fucking bullshit I learned. And I've been doing this when I started at like my late 20s, when I really started getting really, really into history. So we're talking about almost 10 to 15 years of me still even realizing, because what you realize when you start learning a lot is that you don't know shit. And then you learn more and you realize, I don't know shit. And that is the wisest thing, is when you realize that you have more. You have more to learn. And you know, what I do know is that before becoming a parent, I had certain things that I felt I had control of. I would, you know, no, my children are not going to do this. I'm not going to let my children do that. Blah, 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 blah. You could plan all that shit. But then you know what? You fall into certain things, right? Because you just can't help, because you're exhausted, because you're this, because you're that, you know? And then, you know, I know me, myself, when I see like, all right, we all been eating crappy a little bit too much. You know what I mean? We got to get it together for whatever reason. Busy, this, that, you get tired. You know how it is, right? So what do we do? I'm the type of person, like, I'm honest with my children. So let's say they got used to just a few days of us eating crappy, right? Then it's me letting them know this ain't healthy for us. We're watching too much television. We're too much this. We're not eating healthy. And that's not how we're going to become superhuman. I tell them all the time, to be superhuman, to be conscious, to be aware, we have to feed ourselves, and we have to give ourselves nutrients and take care of ourselves and meditate and filter all this and clean this out and center ourselves. I say that. So to the point that my son, even though in the beginning, he'll be like, oh, a little sad. Then afterwards, he's like, oh, so this is healthy now. We got to do better. Yes, we got to do better now. So now we're going to do this. We're going to cleanse our bodies. You got to be honest. If I see that I've let them watch too much TV of a certain type of show, and I see that they're acting a certain way that's, you know what I mean? Just pasado, like a little Like, you know what? I'm like, where you getting this from? Because I know you don't see that with me or your dad. So you're getting this from somewhere else. So I got to find the source to this. And then I'll see, because what I noticed with a lot of these cartoons that I cannot stand is two things. Number one, the siblings are mean to each other. Like, mean to each other.
Very
Number
mean.
two, very mean. I don't like the bratty shit when they're whining and all that. And why? And that's not to say that children don't whine, that children are not mean. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, at that age, they're copycats. They can't filter, oh, right from wrong, I shouldn't do that. No, they're just gonna copy. That's all they're gonna do. So I don't care if the show has a bratty character, and then afterwards the other character is like, no, we shouldn't do that. You know what? They're not hearing that part.
They're
Not
not.
hearing that part.
I'm very
What's
glad.
gonna happen is, when something similar, they're gonna go, and they're gonna follow that reaction. That's why it is so important. Even the most subtle cartoons, you may think, they're still doing some type of brainwashing. Yes, that was with my daughter, and I blocked YouTube for Kids because of that. She was picking up too much garbage. Yes.
Yes. You know,
Even
also,
go ahead.
no, I want you to finish what you were saying.
So even like, there's now a lot of these YouTube shows with these children that have their own YouTube shows.
Yeah.
And I know for me and my husband, it gets really conflicting because, for example, first there was the one Ryan, some kid Ryan, and him and his mom. Okay.
Like,
I
can't.
hadn't had my child stop watching it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the mother's acting like a sangana, una pendeja right there on TV with him.
And the dad, too. He's worse.
And I need my child to understand, I'm cool as fuck, but I'm your parent. And first of all, you're not bringing me no 20 million from YouTube for me to sit here and put up with your shit. Like, that's what we're not gonna do. But either way, you're still not gonna disrespect me. Like, we're not gonna go that far with it. Thank you, mama. I love you. So go over there, mama. Go over there. So then now there's this other show he likes to watch, and it's this kid, he plays games with his father. So it's really like, it puts the pressure on my husband, because he's like, yo, he watches this kid play with his father, do all these things, do all these games, whatever, and he thinks that I'm supposed to play with him all day.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like, I don't have to work and have other responsibilities, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna play with my son, obviously, you know what I mean? But it's like, they then perceive this image, and it's like, Daddy, are we gonna do this today? And it's like, Tristan, I can do all that, but I can't do all that all day. You know what I mean? And it sucks, because you want to give your children all that. You really do, but we all know that there's responsibilities. There's all this, there's all that, you know what I mean, that we have to take care of, right? But anyways, I say that to say that, you know, it's also giving these children this false image of parenthood, of thinking that your parent is going to be there playing with you all day, and then you have the ones that are working, and your child's looking at you like, why do you have to work? And it's like, all right, look. They're doing entertainment, but that's not real life. There's a real life that happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's another, I think, just tricky situation that we have to deal with now as parents. But yeah, I want you to go ahead with what you were.
Yeah, because I want to say something about how you said, I picked that up here quick, because the good thing about me and you, and I'm going to say this to a lot of parents, separate your children. I don't mean separate them from each other, separate them from everybody that you know. And that doesn't mean isolate yourself. It means separate. The parenting should only come from you. You shouldn't be allowing other people to tell your children what to do, unless you tell your, like, hey, you got to listen to mama. You got to listen to mama and papa. You know, that's different. But also, because, you know how you were saying about they see the kid misbehave, then they see the kid, then they want to just like band-aid it, like, oh, okay, you shouldn't have acted like that, like, just come join us and play now. And it's like, wait, hold on. Like, I was watching one of the shows, and the kid flipped out, threw like a super tantrum, left the whole game. The kids ended up not being able to play the game, right? It was in a show. And then they came back, and they were like, oh, you know what, it's okay, like, that shouldn't, you know, stop the game. Like, let's just continue. You shouldn't act like, you know, like nothing happened, you know? So I started having conversations with the children. I'm like, do you think that's right? And Enzo was like, no, he should get a timeout or something. Like, he needs to think about what he did. And I was like, but he didn't learn that by being with other people. He learned that because here, I also didn't have a choice but to make him do timeouts because I got hit when I was a child. And I actually went through a really, really bad struggle of how do I discipline my children out,
ooh, child.
you know? So it's like I ended up freezing
That's been hard.
and not doing anything. And then that made it even worse because now I have no backbone. And now I'm the punk, like that they could just, you know, do whatever they want. So I had this whole like internal battle about like, okay, hold on. My mom didn't have a mom. Her mom passed away when she was 9. So she didn't have someone to guide her in that, you know, no matter who came, the answer was not there, you know? And then she acted the way that she knew with all the traumas that she went through and all the stuff. So I just was trying to stop that from coming over. And then I realized I put myself against the wall. So, you know, it's also realizing that 1, it's okay. 2, take your time, have patience with yourself. And 3, that separation. And the reason why it's so important is because now they're not picking behaviors from anyone else. Now Milan had a habit where she'll be like, do you want some or no? And I'm like, or no. Why are you saying that? Like, that's weird. I've never heard anybody say that. This is me saying that in my head. And then I was giving Amaury something to eat, and I'm like, ¿Tú quieres o no? And then I was like, yo, that's where she got it from, because we're not hanging out with anybody. We're not hanging out.
Yes.
I'm not watching that much TV because I minimized everything. I selected a few shows that I've already, like, gone through because I'm telling parents it's not easy. Nobody's here to tell you it's easy because I'm telling you you're going to be ready to give up just right now. Just by listening.
This is every second. You got to be every second. You know how many times I'll think a show is fine, and then next you know, I'm hearing something, and I'm like, oh, hell no. No, take it off. I'm like,
and it's okay. Like, if you're watching it, you know, you see it, and it seems all normal, right? But the subliminal message there was basically in that episode that technology is needed in order for proper farming to happen in the future. And that pissed me off because it's like, first of all, who are you? And who are you? Because there's been people farming way before technology, way before. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's also understanding that that's going to be embedded in their psychology at the end of the day. It's going to be there, and it's going to be harder to take that out of there. You okay?
Yeah, sorry, my sister was just telling me something.
Okay. No,
you got your food?
Like, are your kids okay?
Yeah, it's in the pink plate over by where the mason jars. All right, sorry.
Oh, yeah, and when you said spoiled, it is spoiled because we have to understand what the word spoiled means. Like, it means
Just
spoiled, right? That's what you're doing. You're spoiling your children for a short time. It's instant gratification. Your child is being annoying right now, and instead of like, okay, hold on, let's stop everything. This is how you. Let's do it together. And taking that time and investing that time into their foundation is the key to doing it. Like, that's what I'm going to let everybody know. Like, that's how it has to work. So every time that you're like, oh, I can't, and it's okay to do it sometimes, and you give them an iPad, you have to watch and listen. Que linda.
You do. You have to. You really have to.
They're not watching. I know you guys are not watching. I know you guys are not watching.
I will always, every time, I'll whatchamacallit, I'll let him know. I'll be like, you watch these YouTube little families, and you don't understand, or these little cartoons, whatever, but you don't see the parents disciplining those children. And I need you to understand that I'm not that parent. I'm going to discipline you for a reason. Because you have to learn structure. You have to learn discipline. You can't just do whatever you want in life like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how this works. You can't, crying is okay. But you're not going to sit here now, scream like a maniac because I said, no, you can't have this. You can't do that. Because you know what you could cause? That neighbor could think I'm doing something to you, call the cops, start a whole mess, or because you wanted to be a brat because you saw that little child, that cartoon being a brat when they didn't get what they wanted. That's not
Mm-hmm.
how life works. It's okay to be like, I don't feel, I'm sad that you're not letting me do this. It's okay to do all of that. But for you to sit here, I'm saying to you, my children will go over there, go over there, go over there, go over there. Because they can understand everything now. But yeah, go. Go in the room, mama. Thank you. They will, let's say I'll be like, no, you can't play with that right now. You gotta wait. Like something like Play-Doh. I don't let them play with it by themselves because the last time Celeste ended up having it all in her mouth and it was a disaster, right? So Tristan, of course, I don't want to deprive him because he's older and he can play with certain things responsibly, but he just can't do it around his sisters. He just can't. So I'll like wait till they have a nap or something or whatever. But anyways, if at some point that he wants to play with it and I say, no, you have to wait, these children were really bad. Like just screaming like a psycho. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, cause then, like I said, I don't live in the hood, you know what I mean? So there's not noise here. So if there's any noise like that, it stands out. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, y'all can't just be. And they get that from watching sometimes these shows that I've caught on to. I'm like, hold up, nah. And one of the shows, I'm gonna tell y'all one. Be careful with that one. It be seeming like a cute show, but I don't like it. Word Party.
Oh.
Word Party has this one little fucking bitch called Lulu. Okay? And Lulu, every time she don't get her way, she's like, ah, and starts banging and screaming. And then you have the other one, this elephant who sounds like a pedophile when he talks. He be sitting in a tree by himself. I don't know if it's just me, baby, but and he be like, let's not fight. Let's not fight. Shut up. Like, just shut up. Because my children are only seeing Lulu. And I'm like, Lulu's gonna get you hurt. Don't act like Lulu, because Lulu gonna get you effed up. Like, don't mess with Lulu. But now we go deeper into more of that. Not only do you have the programming and what they're watching, let's talk about now what technology actually does to your brains.
Yes, that's
what
where we
these what do you call it? Frequencies or energetic fields, I don't know, but you have to understand that that's like, you ever had, how do I explain it, like you had a phone near something and something else that was just a few feet away would vibrate. There was something I would have, and something, it was not a phone or nothing, but that would vibrate when my phone has something like a message going off, and it would be, the light would flicker or something.
I think
something like that. And it'd be like, and then I would know, like, oh, my phone is somewhere and I'm getting a message somewhere. So that makes you wonder, all these things are vibrational, connections. Why do you think now they have, it was something I was watching one time. It talks about the blue light that's reflected from these, your laptop. Yep, the glasses. Yep, I have those.
We could talk about them also.
Yep. So that blue light reflector, remember your brain, for example, let's say you're looking at your phone at night. Your brain is in a certain mental state of darkness and sleep. So when you're putting this light, you're messing with the whole brain on how it can process that light, because in reality your body is not in light. Because your body has a program, right? It goes to sleep. It knows when it wakes up. When you have your break fast, you break your fast, right? All these things are part of a science to your body, to your mind. So when you're adding these electrical forms that are unnecessary, because why do we need to pick up our phone in the middle of the night? Why are we scrolling in the middle of the night? This is an addiction. This is an addiction. You ever pick up your phone and you don't even mean to go on social media, but you automatically click on that shit? And I'd be like, I wasn't trying to go on this. What the fuck was that about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's here.
I want to talk about how you said program activated, like another explanation. For example, when you go into nature, you don't see blue anywhere. You only see blue in the sky and the reflection of that in the water.
Yeah.
But there's like maybe 2 flowers that might be blue, and blueberries, which is the only fruit that's blue. And then it's not even like a light blue. So we also have to understand the programming of our bodies and how they work. You allowing that blue light to enter your body signalizes to your brain that it's daytime.
Yes.
And now let's wake up everybody. Okay, everybody wake up. Imagine if you're in your house and somebody just always randomly at 2 o'clock in the morning just starts flicking the lights on and everybody needs to wake up. Like your body's like, what's going on? Now we're used to it already, but this is not normal, guys. Like you see the second it's dark, even the water turns black. The sky is black. That's all a signal for you to shut down as well and be part of this circle of life. Everything has its purpose. So that programming is not by accident. And it's not by accident that they add that blue light to the technologies that your children are using and that we're using all the time.
Yeah. Now we want to go, they want to go deeper with this, right? When your children are playing these video games, these violent, aggressive video games, I got to repeat this every time. Your brain cannot separate real from not real. Everything is reality in your brain. Everything is real. It's not, oh, this is just a video game. No, all of that is being programmed into your subconscious every single time. The aggressiveness, the violence, the language, all these things are being programmed into your child's mind. I don't understand how there are these young children also playing these video games now, these very violent video games, and they're young, okay? And they're also on the web talking to a bunch of strangers. My son likes to watch, which I've heard a lot of children do,
watch other people
video games. Yeah, other people play video games. So weird to me. Yes, these are my kids in class. I'm like, and I remember I heard, because it was like a recording of, I guess, people playing online and talking, whatever. I don't know what they said, but all I know it was just aggressive, language. You know what I mean? And I was like, hold up, no, take that out. Not only that, I heard one time, and that's why I'm very cautious of how, when he watches certain YouTube things. Like, I'm like, no, what do you want? No, you can't do this, can't do this. And he'll ask me, Mommy, can I watch this? Can I? Because he already knows. But there was one of them that it was just a Sonic video game, and I think somebody said something about now you're dead. I'm like, hold up, no. That I even heard him one time, and I think that's when I caught on to where that came from. Turn that off. Okay, but turn that off. Turn the water off. You gotta wait for me, Mama. And then I heard him say something to Kehlani when they were playing, something like, and now you're dead. And I'm like, whoa, pause, come here. And I had to talk to him and really be like, your words manifest reality. Would you want your sister dead? He's like, no. I'm like, so why would you say that? I said, because you're copying, Tristan. You're listening to other people and you're copying and you don't even know what you're saying. You gotta know what you're saying. You know what I mean? So just imagine how many parents, and listen, I'm not judging no parent here. I am very well aware that it is very hard to be on top of everything 24/7 because you got a lot of shit you got to do just to maintain life. You know what I mean? But the truth is that I'm learning too, as as I grow in this motherhood journey, is that we have to put them first and everything falls into place. We have to make it a priority. We are so stuck on survival mode and fight or flight mode that we're not fucking being present and taking control, because now I know people want to make it seem like this whole metaverse thing. I understand that, technology and everything evolves. I am very well aware of that. But I am also very well aware that for a very, 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 very long time, we have been stripped from our actual reality. Our actual reality of why we are in this plane of existence and what we are here to do. Because we have been conditioned to believe in this work till you die, hustle till you die. We don't believe in rest. We don't believe in mental health. We don't believe in support for each other. That all came from us subscribing to the non-reality. To not even the non-reality, to subscribing to someone else's reality. Someone else's American dream, someone else's way of life. We subscribe to that and stripped away all of our ancestral ways that are innate to us and are so natural to us. Why do you think when people have their awakenings, what is the first thing about people like that? They always want to be in nature.
Mm-hmm.
I hated fucking nature. I hated being outside. I didn't like being in grass. I didn't want my feet to touch the grass. I didn't like none of that. The
None of
minute I
that.
had my awakening, I could lay on the fucking grass and feel just amazing. Like, there's just this different. Unless you've been through it, you're not gonna understand what I'm saying. But it's like we have to understand that there's also these moments where we have these feelings in our gut, in our just parent instinct that we're like, this don't feel right. Whether it be in school, whether it be something with your child, where you're having a conflict one, there's always that voice inside of you, that God inside of you that's like, yo, something ain't right. And when you dissect it all comes down to the fact that we have given too many people responsibility and control over our children. Stop allowing these institutions to act like these things with these video games and these metaverse and these movies and these TV shows are just for entertainment. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're for a reason. They have to keep up a certain type of lie so they can still be wealthy and they can still be in power. And the way they do that is for you to be fully enslaved to them mentally. And that is where the biggest problem lies when it comes to technology, because they create all these beautiful gadgets, all these toys, these tablets, these phones now. Like phones now, people have phones when they're like 10 years old.
Yeah, which could be wonderful things. These can be amazing
Yes.
tools. But why are we not learning to use them as tools? We're using them as daycare. We're using them as entertainment. We're using them as education. We are sometimes, but if we're not really actively paying attention to what they are learning, what are they learning then?
What
You know
are
what
they
I'm saying?
learning? And,
I
and
also
go ahead.
no, go ahead and finish, and then I'll because
There's these prime ages, you know what I mean? And we have to really, at least, if anything, we have to really be accountable for those first 7 years, and we have to make ourselves accountable for that. And it's gonna mean, like, you know what? You're gonna have to put in that work the first 7 years at least to lay that foundation, and it's gonna come with work. It's gonna come with resistance at times from your children, but you gotta stay there and do it.
and from
And tell them
yourself.
why you're doing it. You always got to be truth too. Be honest with them. Tell them why you're doing this. It's not just, oh, just listen to me because, no. I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this.
Yeah,
Because it's for your brain.
I'm the same. Like I find the magic honest. I find the magic in being honest with my children because they trust me and they see that.
Yes.
They're very, very alert and they're aware and they listen even when you don't think, yo, I could be having a conversation and they'll be like, oh, but didn't you say the other day that you were going to do this? And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, like also giving them that validation that they're right. Their validation that their feelings are correct. That they're not all the time. Like that doesn't mean valid temper tantrums, but it also means that I have to sometimes tell them like, look, I understand why you're upset. I actually you should be upset, but you also don't have to carry this on. Like you could also decide not to be upset. You can. It's not gonna change. You can decide that. The power's in you. But I wanted to kind of squeeze in also because we were talking about these programs, right? And I want to mention that nothing is with ever here. This is a very, very genius and strategic plan. So as a mom, I'm telling you here, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's a very deep, deep hole that not only did they dig for us, but we continued to dig. And it just takes us realizing that we're still digging and stopping and then undoing, you know? And it seems hard, but one of the programs that I want to mention is school. And I want to we're all approaching new technology phase where we're going to do metaverse and all these things, right? How do you think that they have all the people to build these programs? It's because they spend the last 10 years Yeah, what are all every person that has a child right now, I know because I did this with my little sister. All these girls and boys went to a STEAM program or a STEM program. This is coding. They're teaching our kids to code and all these technologies in school, preparing them for this future. Now, if your kids didn't learn that in school and they didn't, how do they see themselves in this future right now? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they're playing us hard, hard, hard. You understand? Because when I was in school, what they were trying to teach me was like, social worker, a doctor. And where are those now? Where are those people right now? Deep in the matrix, or like me, like, yeah, bugging.
Yeah.
So we gotta realize that also. All these kids are learning coding for a reason. All these kids are learning different families for a reason. All these children are learning sexuality for a reason. Like, if we actually take down and break down these programs, we can see the clear plan. We can see.
Something. Race got played out already. Okay. So now they got to find something else because race doesn't work anymore. The truth is that as many people can say that, oh, we need more diversity on television. Let me tell you something. One thing that I got to say is that compared to my upbringing, all the shows that my children watch are diversified. They are not whitewashed at all. And I'm not trying to be a certain way, but I don't let them watch an all white type of show. Like, no. I just don't. I just want to make sure most of the time the main family is somebody that looks like them, and that's what I want them to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as in their hair, all this, I don't ever want my children to feel like how I felt. Like, oh my God, I'm weird here. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to have this straight blonde, beautiful hair type of thing. So it's like. Not only that, there's so many now because of YouTube. See, this is the thing with this. It's like a catch-22 because there are benefits to it. Because I don't have cable. So what I do is I'll find, like, there's a show on YouTube called Akili and Me.
I like that one.
Akili and Me is about numbers and alphabets, and it's just a fun show for children to learn. And I love it. And my children love it. All my children have loved that show. Now, I'm able to find shows like that. There's another show too that's really good. It used to be on Netflix, but some episodes on YouTube, Super Why. So Super Why was educational as well. And what I liked about it is that they would take these fairy tale stories that probably had a negative connotation to it, and they would make it into a positive one. So it would be like, oh, if let's say you had the big angry wolf, whatever story with the 3 little pigs, right? They would afterwards have the child, like whoever was doing the story that day, change it into something more positive, much more nicer. It's a great show. My son learned so much from that show. But, we have cartoons that we grew up with that were very sexual without us even knowing. And I see them now when I go back and I'm like, oh my God, what, it goes to wonder because we are a very over-sexualized,
SpongeBob. That's everybody watch. And real quick, I just want to mention, like, as adults, we swear that these things are entertaining us. We're like, oh yeah, they just snuck that in for the parents, whatever. But it's like, who sits down? Unless you're at the movie theater, nobody sits down to watch cartoons with their children, and we know this. So in reality, messages are not for the adults. They're for the adult mind that's sleeping inside your child. Like, that's what we're...
Yeah. There was something else. So look, this is how you know that there's something deeper behind all this. And it's that now, look, I don't care if it's a heterosexual couple or a non-heterosexual couple.
I was going to talk about that.
Listen, I don't even like to see heterosexual couples cartoons do anything kissing or anything extra.
Okay.
I just want to see just children having fun, playing, learning, doing all these things. That's what I want my children to see. Go over there, mama. Go over there, Mama. You gotta go over there, okay? I gotta buy some more. I'll get you something else though when I'm done, okay? I'm almost done. Okay, I love you. So now I remember there was the show Rugrats, the cartoon that I grew up watching, which now when I look at it, was a horrible show. I'm sorry. These children were mean to each other. We're so mean to each other. And then that girl, the main girl, I forgot her name. She was horrible to them. She was always mean to them. Huh? Angelica. She was always mean to them, always yelling at them. You know what I mean? But now I remember I saw something where they were reintroducing the cartoon, I guess, again, and they were saying that the mom is a lesbian now, and I'm like, why do I need to know what this cartoon mother does in her bedroom? Mm-hmm. Why do children need to even know that? You know, like there's a fine line with this little thing about equality and yada yada yada. Look, at the end of the day, if you are a parent, you can agree with me that your children 90% of the times cannot differentiate what is what. All they're doing is mimicking, copying, mimicking, copying. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. So if you're telling them, and I'm not saying that that's wrong or right, what I'm saying is they're not even worried about that. So why are you bringing up stuff that they're not even worried about that? There's times that I'm here flustered because of an argument I had with my child. Not an argument, but like I yelled at him for something. And I'm feeling guilty about how I handled it. And then I'll go talk to him. He done forgot about that shit and was talking about some other stuff. Like, oh, can I play my Switch on Friday? What? I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
They're even thinking about these things. But we are the ones that are going to plant these different types of programs into their brain. And the thing is that programming is a good thing and a bad thing. The problem is when you start programming them into things that are unnecessary at that age. Mm-hmm. It's unnecessary. You know what I mean? It's unnecessary. This is why we're dealing also with your over-sexualized society when we had that episode about sexual abuse. Because you're introducing things that are not what they're fucking worried about. Even when it comes to race, my children have never said anything about it. You know what I mean? They just see everybody. If it's a friend, if it's someone they could play with, they're just having fun. They're not sitting there saying, ew, they're this or they're that, or they're not sitting there doing that. They just want to have fun.
Most of the time, they don't even notice the difference.
They don't even notice. They don't care.
But
they're not even thinking about that.
The other day, Mila and Milan were in the bath and they were like looking at skin and they're like, oh, my skin is darker. And I'm like, yeah. And wait, so you and Enzo are a lighter color and then me, Milan, and Daddy are a color, right? And we're yeah. And then she's like, why? And I was like, I have more melanin in your skin. And she's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, well, there's a chemical in your skin that makes you darker and you guys have it and Enzo and I didn't get it. I was like, now you could build that with sun. And she was like, oh, that's why you always tell us to go in the sun. I'm like, yeah, because I actually would like to have your color. Like, your color is actually better when you're out in the sun. It protects you more. Like, it's more for your protection. And she was like, oh, you know, and it's like, kids are not out here like, oh, okay, we're different. And they just acknowledge it. But why would I go in?
Yes.
Yeah, like, why would I go in and say, you know, yeah, people were treated different because they're your skin. Like, she just acknowledged something and wanted to ask a question. And that's it. Her curiosity, that's it. That was what she needed. She got what she needed. That's it, you know? But it's like, why do we, as parents, we always want to take it a step further? Like, I want to show another example.
Conditioning.
Talking to my little sister. And she was basically telling me that I'm oppressed. I'm oppressed because I'm a Hispanic woman or Latin or whatever they want to consider me. And I live in this world and because I'm a woman. And I was like, so you're here standing for all these women, right? But I don't feel oppressed. So who are you standing for? And she couldn't tell me like where in my life I've been oppressed, you know, but that's what they're telling children in school. She's 12 years old. They're telling her that you get oppressed by your race and you get oppressed by your sexuality, when in reality she's been in our family the whole time. She's never noticed the difference between our uncles, our uncle that's darker and our cousins that are lighter and our cousins that are darker, and no one's ever said anything about that. And then now we live our lives. Her mom went to college. Our mom went to college and graduated and got a job, and we live in a nice house. And it's like, girl, you're listening to something they're telling you in school, but you're not analyzing what's happening to you in real life. So sometimes we
also they push this narrative.
They're overriding the reality, and now this child is testing her own oppression.
Yes, and now she's gonna react in that way. Like
exactly. Now
I see these things, and maybe it's a little off topic, but real quick, like, okay, there's this whole thing about equality, right? And I see, you know, oh, women are not paid as much as men in this field and that field and that field.
I don't believe in equality, first of all. Nothing's ever equal.
It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. That's not the science of life. There's a positive and a negative. That's how things work, okay? That's just life. You can't just have all positive and all negative. It doesn't work like that. So when I look at these things of people fighting for equal pay and all these things, I think to myself, at one point I would have been like, yeah, we're supposed to get paid what they get paid because we could do da-da-da. That was the old me. And then you know what? I start to think, why am I going to play their game where they're going to devalue me? How about I don't play your fucking game? How about I find me a separate career that I can now ask for what I'm worth and not have to worry about somebody fighting me in it? Why do we put ourselves in situations where we have to fight more than we need to because we're begging someone for permission, for validity, whatever? We're begging someone for acceptance. No. How about you fucking keep your little jobs and I'm going to create my own production company where I could pay motherfuckers whatever the fuck I want that they're worth? Or how about I find another field also that allows me to make whatever money that I want to make without nobody telling me this is what you're worth. You know where I get that from? I get that from the stock market, learning how to play the stock market, because that is what rules the world from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And where's your ass? In an office somewhere, dealing with somebody's bullshit, asking for permission to get a vacation day. And I'm not saying that we don't need workers. I'm not saying that. Yeah. However, you are allowing yourself to work for people that have been abusing you for years. And now they want to bring up diversity. And how can you teach people? You can't teach people to not be who the fuck, like, so you're going to teach somebody now how to treat people of color now? You're going to treat, they only hire you so they can have diversity in their company? This is bullshit, yo. And you have to know that the same way they're playing you, they're playing your children. And they start from your children because you were a child too in their system, being indoctrinated with this whole bullshit. You know what I mean? And this is the sad part about technology nowadays that we didn't have, is that now when something happens to somebody, it is publicly displayed on the internet. Mm-hmm. Imagine if every mistake that you made when you were younger, every dumb shit you went through when you were a teenager, when you were in high school, imagine if that afterwards was also displayed on a social media platform. Do you understand how dangerous that is for children? This is why children are so suicidal more than ever right now. Because they have to sit there and listen to strangers tell them about themselves, criticize them, bully them, and do all these things. We have to really take control of this technology. And then now when you go into your new technology they're trying to get into and evolve into, we're talking about them shifting now your children into a virtual reality that, again, their brain is not going to be able to separate real from fake. And they're going to feel those emotions and they're going to feel these certain things. And they're going to take that into their subconscious mind. Now, what is happening in that virtual world? Now, what they're going to do is they're going to be in the real world thirsting for the fake world and never being present in the real world. So if we've been stripped away and we didn't even get to the height of virtual reality, what are they really going to do to your children now when they bring that in as the forefront of this? It's to the point where I am very okay. Like now, before it was like, oh, I'm going to set up shop here in the US and then I'll move to another country. Now it's like, no, I think I'm out of here. I think within the next 2 years, 3 max of anything, I'm out of this country. And it's not about running away from everything. It's about that I know I have control of my life and my children's lives. And I don't got to sit here and put up with a country or a system that does nothing for us, that is not for us, that wasn't built for us. It was built for our destruction. It was built for our enslavement. And I'm energy vampires, yes. And so you know what I'm going to do? No. Now I'm going to reprogram my reality and say, you know what? This ain't for us. We've grown out of this. This doesn't fit our lifestyle. I'm not going to fight anybody. That is too much energy for me to sit there and fight you, to be like, no, I don't want my child to have this. Don't teach him that, but you can teach him this. I don't need to do that. How about I remove myself from the situation? How about I do that? So that is where my goal is at now. Let me find a country that now caters to the lifestyle that I want my children to grow in, the reality that I want to give my children as a foundation. And it's not this fake, all up in the TV, YouTube, telephone, virtual reality world, because that's not fucking reality.
No.
It's not.
And we also have to understand our power as a collective. Like, we have our children manifesting this world for us. It's not the same. It's like they're creating a whole world with the energy of our children and what they want and their desires, and they're hooking children onto this like physical plane, and it's we're much bigger than this physical plane. And
much bigger.
Being born and dying is literally the proof of how much grander you are. Like, so I don't understand this. Like, I don't believe in God. I don't believe, bro, you were born and you're gonna die. Like, what? There's nothing that's gonna stop that. So it's like to get that out of our heads, like that we don't have control over these things, because that's literally that example that you said was the exact same example that I gave my. I was like, I'm not part of that world.
It's not my reality. Like,
I'm gonna create my own world where I can come in and breastfeed my child, my boob out, and not be bothered by what anybody else has to say. I want to be able to hire women that bring your child to work today. Go ahead, bring your child, because you need to actually be teaching your child what you do, so your child can do what you do and do it better. You know, so it's like we also have to realize that the reasons we act like that is because they taught us to. And as easily as they taught us, we can undo it. And it's not, yes, and it's not that it's easy, but it's like the true definition of being sovereign, and the reason why this country doesn't just hand you your food is because you gotta earn it. You gotta fight for it. Sorry that world right now, but it is like it's at the point where you don't just get freedom anymore. No, you have to fight for it, and you got to fight to keep it. So in all reality, be the teacher, be the educator, be the provider, be the doctor, be the whatever it is that your children need first, so that you advocate, and then use people and as a guide and as a tool, because that's what it is, to get you.
That's the thing. All this technology, we can use it for our benefit. Have your children watching certain things that are gonna stimulate their minds. You know, like if you have to have them watch TV or play something or a game or whatever, make sure that it's something at least that they're being programmed with that can benefit them. We gotta stop programming our children with all this trauma. Like, I'm so disappointed at the fact that there's so many young children that are so scared now going to school. They won't take off their masks. They think they're going to get a disease. They think they're going to get, and they're in fear. And you know where that comes from? That comes from the parent programming them. By the parent watching all this toxic stuff, the child is watching that. And now the child is moving as such. And now the child is also depending on that as their truth. of where they find truth at or where they find their reality, and they're saying, oh, I gotta listen to the news. Let me say something. You know why I quit when I dropped out of college? I was in journalism because I wanted to be a news reporter. And I will never forget, I was in class, and they give you the mock to do the interview and shit, right? And I was like in a broadcasting whole class, whatever, and they were videotaping us. And I remember I gave my opinion on one of the things. And afterwards, the teacher was like that I did not do good. And I'm thinking I killed it.
Yeah.
And he's like, nobody cares about your opinion. And I was like, excuse me? But I'm reporting, so I want to talk. He said, nobody cares. You read the script, and that's it. He's like, you have to be biased. You can't pick a side. And I'm like, but what if I don't agree with that? And he's like, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. So what does that tell you? It tells you that these news people are controlled. They're told what to say and how to say it. Why do you think that now? Thank you. If a news reporter says something that they don't agree with, that they don't want people to know, all of a sudden there's a whole thing where people are bashing, you know what I mean? I mean, they're getting them censored and all these things. Come on, that goes to tell. So it's like you have to have your children know that this is not your source of truth. Your source of truth is educating yourself, is traveling to different countries, speaking to the native people of these lands. It's reading all these books. It's really learning your true history of where you came from, how you're here, why we're moving, why this country is in the state that they're in. You know, the fact that these children can also see these police killings, all these things, these abuse that's happening, you know, between couples or families, you know what I mean? Or tragic situations. This is all displayed now on social media, and your children are watching these things as they're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and that is doing something to their brain. It's causing a trauma for a situation that they never even went through. But because your body cannot say, that's not my life, that was just something I saw on social media, your body is feeling those feelings. So we have to really, really take accountability as parents, take control of the situation. And all we have to do, I understand that it's not about getting all rid of it, but we have to shift it now for our benefit. You cannot allow these companies to be that much in control. You know, I had an experience that I don't know if I'll share on social media yet. I don't know. I'll think about it, but you know, Denisha knows about it. But I had an experience in one of my spiritual experiences recently, and in that experience, what happened to me felt as if my entire subconscious mind came to the front, and I watched it play out. And what happened is that I realized that I didn't remember that I remembered certain things until I remembered it. Does that make sense?
Yes, because that happened to me the other day. I was
when
like,
it came up and I saw it in my experience that I was in, I was like, that affected me? It was the most subtle, not even at the time it wasn't subtle, but it was the most smallest things that I went through in school, as a child, within my family, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that I let that bother me to that point or affect me to that point, because that wouldn't even cross my mind. When I think of things I've been through, certain things that I saw in that experience, I did not know that was part of what was controlling me in my subconscious. You know what I mean? And not only that, I got a chance to tap into, literally, like, watch a playback of my entire life, and it was a very out of body experience. And what it showed me was how much I'm not present and how much I'm not conscious of certain things. That's what it showed me, to the point that afterwards, now after that, I can see shit very, very differently. But you know, I tapped into a specific part of my brain that brought that out. And it made me realize, like, wow, these little things that I do with my children, these little mistakes, these little things that I may ignore unconsciously, right, are affecting them in some way, shape, or form, and it's molding them. And we can't subscribe to that and then afterwards get mad at them when they act a certain way or do certain things, when we have to first dissect, where are they getting this from? And where did this
Oh my God, I
originate
was gonna.
from?
There's this show that I was watching. I really want to look for the name because it was so random, and I just clicked on it. Like I don't even know what I was using, and it was talking about commercials and how
Mm.
commercials to make your children nag at you and to be like, oh, I really want that toy. Oh, I really want that toy. Hey, I really want, and we don't catch it as parents because usually we're not here watching commercials with our children. And even if we did, it's so subtle that you don't really catch it unless you're really present and paying attention. So we also have to understand that our children have been taught through these technologies how to bother you, how to you say yes, how to get what they want. And it's like, yes, a lot of these kids can have that normally. Like, you can't tell me different. Milan is so different than Mila, and Milan can talk her way out of, I'm almost sure, almost any situation. I know who she is, but that's another thing. We have to get to know our children who they really are. Like
Not who you
Mila,
want them to be.
exactly. Like Mila is shy. You know what but I don't want to go into that. What I really want to say is like they have their personalities. And when they watch something, if you're doing like me, that we're trying to monitor it and you can tell, you're monitoring what they actually, how they react to things and stuff, you can tell when they've watched something that is like attacking you as the parent. And I know it sounds like, oh my God, that's crazy or whatever, but understand that Jen and I have been having these conversations since my born. And at the beginning, I promise you, I thought the same things. And it wasn't until I started witnessing it for myself, I would sit there and watch these things with them or be in an area where I can, put an ear in. That's when I understood for real. And that little piece of it is showing how these like marketing companies target you and your children. Have to really understand these things. It's not just the cartoons, it's food. They put it at a certain level so that your children can make eye contact, like for real, with these characters.
You know what I also have noticed? Mama, you got that on the wrong foot. The wrong foot. That goes here, that goes here. I noticed too, they have this thing where the cartoons will be like, I don't like no
What?
like no they're saying that they don't veggies.
Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you saying that because you heard that hijo, like, I don't like this, I don't like that. You never said, I've seen you tear that up.
Yeah, so we have to realize, like, like for example, Enzo's outgoing. One day he was like, oh, I'm shy. I was like, since when you shy? What did you watch? Literally, I said, what did you watch?
Yeah.
And he laughed because he caught.
No, I'll take it off.
Mm-hmm. And that's the magic of raising children this way. He caught himself were like, and he laughed it off and was like, yo, like, I really just acted like a cartoon character, So it's like, but let me explain another thing. Bila and Milan don't understand that Frozen is not. They don't understand that they're not eating. They never understand that they're not gonna be like, oh, let me hold. Like, and that's where I'm personally struggling a little bit, is I'm trying to explain to them, like, look, somebody draws it like this and it moves. Like, that's what you're watching, but it's like, that doesn't really make sense to them. They're like, yeah, but I'm watching it and like, I hear her voice, like she's real,
Yeah.
And you also have to understand, like, that look at how that mind works. Like, they don't even understand that those things are real, and we're really trying to introduce sexuality, we're really trying to introduce race, we're really trying to introduce these things that they don't even understand or not, like, they're not real, but we want to make them understand life things, like,
yeah
have to realize that we're being played. They're trying to sneak it in as, like you said, equality and diversity, but it's like, no, we're singling people out, we're calling each other out, we're placing our fingers on things and putting names on them, and then we wonder why children are racist or why children are way that they are, or why are they getting sexualized early? But every movie has like a mom and dad couple, or a situation where the person marries the adult, and it's like, why is that even in the story?
No, yeah,
It's making
was. Oh, hold on. Oh, you made all this? This looks amazing, Tristan. Okay, hold on. No, yeah, don't touch this. All right, Tristan, make sure you put it away, okay? Okay. Well, you gotta put it all. Show Dada? Yeah. Oh, okay. Go over there with it. Make sure you put it away so they don't mess it up. What was I gonna say? Oh, so like we need to know that let me go back. Since we're being controlled by our subconscious mind, then how are we parenting for real? So we're gonna have to take a step back and start healing ourselves and start, you know what I mean? Yes, getting ourselves together, because that's the only way that you're even gonna have the energy to raise your children accordingly in this age of technology and using it to your benefit. Because if not, it's going to swallow you up and it's going to swallow your children up. Okay? The same way you be sitting there scrolling all day, you don't think your children are seeing that? That's a sickness. It's a sickness. And we've all been guilty of it. Like, I have to really, like, me and my husband be like, you know what? We're going to have to, like, stretch it out to an hour a day, 15 minutes, check your stuff, whatever, and John, and keep it going. Because you will sit there all day, literally, in somebody else's life, in somebody else's business, pointless shit that, you know what, an hour will go by and you're still there scrolling. And you could have done something different at that time during that hour. You know what I mean? There's so much more that we can stretch out our days if we are in more present and more awareness. And we can do that for our children, you know, as well. Like, sometimes I feel like my children's frustration, you know, really came from just them wanting me more than what I can give them the attention that they wanted. You know what I mean? And that was me getting caught up with life, because we do get caught up with life, and then we lose moment of the present, and then we rush the present so much to go back into thoughts, because that's what we do.
Exactly.
You want to leave the present so bad just so you can go back to doing, let's say some people that drown themselves in work as a way of coping, right, with stress or whatever, right? But all you're doing while you're working is you're just in your thoughts. You're in your head. You're in the past. You're in the hope for the future. You're thinking about this. You're thinking about that. You're losing these moments. And all we have is life and death. That is it. There is no middle ground here. You either are going to live this life, or you're going to literally die in this life. Until your physical is out of it. But in reality, you're literally walking dead. And that's what most people are. They are walking dead. They are programmed by technology, by virtual technology, by the news, by this, by that. I want anybody, yes, tell him I love him, my nephew. I want everybody who watching this now live and who watches it afterwards to challenge yourself for a day to literally not pick up your phone and be present in everything you're doing. When you're showering, don't think about nothing else. Every time you think about something else, be like, nope, I'm just taking a shower. I'm just cleaning my body. Don't think about what you got to cook later. Don't think about what you got to do after you get out the don't think about nothing else but what you're doing. And everything you do while you're brushing your teeth, all you should be thinking about is, I am brushing my teeth right now. Don't think about nothing else. And then when you have to work, focus solely on whatever you're supposed to work on, not anything else. Not what you got to do later, not who you got to call, not who you got to text, not who you got to check your messages. No, challenge yourself to really, 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 really be present. And when you do that, challenge yourself to watch how present are your children. They're more present than you most of the time. They're just being in a certain type of programming. But the truth is, your children are always more present, because they're not consumed with life issues, with paying bills, paying rent, with working. They don't have that clogging their brain. And especially if you have young children, they are present. They are in their moment. That is why when they say they play make-believe, they believe that.
Yeah, they
really are in that world, and you can't tell them different.
Exactly. And it's like you're saying, like, us giving when we're scrolling and stuff, our emotions are actually reacting. They're going up and down and going all these things. And it's like, you're not just sitting there doing nothing. You're doing your body that you're supposed to be doing like presently. And we just like shut down, like, okay, let's just, scroll, which, we're all guilty of doing that. Like, I have to stop myself all the time.
Yeah.
Not that.
Every time.
But
I'm doing a 10-day, like, I want to say cleanse, because I've been so busy and I haven't been eating like as often or doing everything. So I started doing a parasite cleanse. Coño, I dropped the phone. So what I started doing, what me and my husband are doing is like, we're because I fell off on working out like consistently. So we're like, okay, for the next 10 days before we go to our families for the holiday real quick, we're gonna have where we have to work out every day and this is a discipline because we gotta wake up at 4 a.m. because these children. We gotta meditate 3 times a day. So the morning is gonna be what we want to manifest, and midday is what we want balance in life, and then at night we meditate what we want to get rid of, because all these 3 things are essential to your consciousness. And also you have to speak to yourself so much that so you can get rid of it. Like, I talk to myself like a motherfucker, because a bitch got to be like, yo, chill, like, stop. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then not only that, discipline with the eating and things of that nature, but the whole point of this is also discipline with social media and not being on it as often, right? So it's reprogram what you see on social media. So it's for us not to being on it as often, to read more often. So every time we meditate, we're also reading 3 times a day. Why? Because the morning time, I'm reading something that's more on my spiritual and self-growth. And then in the midday is about learning, basically. So reading something educational, anything educational, because that I want to get back into my studies hardcore like I used to do before, but then you have children and it gets a little hard. But I want to read something educational. And then before bed, I want to read something that's going to stimulate my brain. So when I go to sleep, that is what I'm absorbing, not something heavy. There's been so many times that I go to bed so heavy because I'm like, my children are doing too much. I'm getting upset. And then I just go to bed and I don't like the way I go to bed like that. I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way I wake up. So what we're trying to do here with this challenge is about being more present. It's about taking control and being more disciplined and reprogramming our subconscious mind by doing this, so that we can be better as parents, we can be better as business people, as all these things. Let me read this here. I'm guilty as well, but in my newfound career of decluttering and reorganizing people's spaces is much more evident for me. My clients can't focus more than 6 minutes on a task with me. Their mind is all over the place, and it's clear why every aspect of life is a mess. Yes. There was this guy I was watching, and he was like, if you want to be disciplined, like, you got to add that discipline in every area of your life. So if you say, I'm going to fix the bed every day, whatever this way, then you better fix that bed every day and do that. You got to do these things. They say like 21 days to reprogram yourself. It can take, whatever. But damn, I got to go. But yeah, I just want people, I guess, to just be more parents, to just be more aware. And like I said, challenge yourself on how present are you? How present are you? And how much are you in your thoughts? Because when you realize how deep in the matrix you are, that's going to show you how deep in the matrix your children are going to be or are already.
You're going to see it.
And in this age of depression, of suicide, of everything being in the public eye so much because everybody got something to prove on social media every time, try to sway your kids differently and have them know that that's not life. That's not reality. That's not reality. Really stay in tune with reality, with your family, with your children.
Yeah, and how you had said about you giving compassion to yourself, that's also gonna give compassion to your children. Like, you're gonna start to realize that it's not their fault that they're acting like that, but it is your responsibility to handle it. And the only way you're
hi. Hold on, Mama. Hi. We gotta go those days. You gotta say bye.
Ah, you so cute.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, say hi.
I have a hi, Tristan. Hi. He's so cute. Kalani, where is she? I saw her little pajon over there.
So why do children always have to do that when they get on camera? They stick their tongue
Right.
out. I don't know what that is about.
The
Make
program.
Oh, yes, this is so important. Make a day for 15 to 20 minutes with each child separately. That is so important.
I like, yeah.
That is so, so, so important because every child is different.
Yes, and letting your children spend time alone. That one's really important. They need to be having moral conversations with themselves. Like Enzo can have a conversation and then he'll come back and be like, wait, this didn't make sense to me. Can you thought about it? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't go with the flow. So, you know, like being aware of that, like go watch them. Tell them, you know what, go think about what you did and let me know how you feel about it. And start having conversations about it. Like how you said, okay, mommy didn't act the way that she was supposed to act, but moving forward, we need to stop. Like we need to do this different, do that different. You know, so it's a collective thing.
Yes.
It's like you are one unit with your family. Like, but we're one. You can't separate that. So if you're doing it, everything is going to fall in place. So just focus on yourself so that you can focus on your children properly. Because it's like you're saying, if you already have some programming done, you need to realize what that programming is before you start dealing with your children, because it's like you're not aware of what the programming is. You need to separate those aspects of yourself and take what's really you. And whatever you don't like, you also have the power to change. Like you don't have to be.
And don't be embarrassed of whatever you asleep on. You know what I mean? We all got played. Listen.
Yeah.
We all got played. Take the pride, throw that out the window. Take the ego, throw it out real quick. Hold on, puppy. You know, like push that aside. All that stuff. Because yes, thank you. Demons come through these portals of phones and TVs. They do. So because of that, we have to really, really know how to filter all this stuff. Hi. But yeah, let me get out of here. These children are hungry. I gotta cook. They're sitting here feeding me Play-Doh.
You guys so hungry, you gonna eat all that Play-Doh? No, don't.
Great job.
I cooked a cheeseburger and a cooked hot dog and a pizza and watermelon. And I cooked some French fries.
Oh, these are French fries here. Wow. So cool. Oh, they're all there.
Yeah. Do like a call because they're like trying to be all up in the phone. Kids, they're like, oh, children.
Okay, you gotta put that down, puppy. Girls, get out of your father's desk.
I know.
But yeah, we'll catch this up again next week. I'm on my schedule. What's next? Oh, I gotta cook now, and then I gotta play with them. Like I put it in the schedule because I gotta be disciplined. I gotta do this with them.
Yeah. Are you going to play with me after cooking?
Yes, Tristan.
Yay! Finally.
You've been waiting all day for me to play with him. I'm like, wait, I gotta do stuff.
I am waiting so long.
I know.
That we're going to miss my Play-Doh class in about 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right, girl. I'll see y'all. Thank y'all for joining us.
Bye.
Oh, Kwahire. Kwahire means bye in Swahili. Ooh, you see that one?
They're on Enzo.
Okay. Adios.
Adios.
Oh, in Spanish. Now you want to show.